Good morning. I am filling in, I'm Miriam in disguise, to introduce our special guest this morning. Dr. Joann Marie Kirchner is an associate professor of piano at Temple University, where she coordinates the class piano program, teaches applied piano, class piano, piano pedagogy. She has published in leading journals such as American Music Teacher, Keyboard Companion, Medical Problems of Performing Artists, Piano Magazine, and for work, she has also published a Journal of Prevention, Assessment, and Rehabilitation. Dr. Kirchner has presented workshops nationally and internationally. She is a MTNA member, and she has served on the board for the Philadelphia Music Teachers Association. Her research interests include music performance anxiety, metacognition, I do not know what that means, teaching repertoire, and music by women composers. And along with her, we welcome Dr. Eunhae Chretien. She is an artist in residence at Temple University. She's renowned for her expertise in piano pedagogy. She is a sought-after adjudicator for piano competitions and festivals in the northeastern United States and has frequently presented at national conventions. Dr. Young holds a bachelor and master's degree in piano pedagogy from Temple University, a master's and doctorate of education in music education from the Teachers College of Columbia University. We are very fortunate to have these two wonderful ladies here to present our program this morning.
Hello, I am Eunhae. Thank you for having me here. So I'm going to start from the first repertoire. First full repertoire I'm going to cover, which are in the Baroque period. During the Baroque period, which lasted approximately 1600 to 1750, Italian music dominated the European scene. However, France also developed its own musical style, although it could not completely escape from Italian influence. Around 1630s, France began to establish this distinct national musical style by Lully and Rameau. Jean-Baptiste Lully was an Italian-born composer who came to France around the age of 13 to teach Italian language to noble rich women. It is ironic that the French musical style was shaped by an Italian Lully, yet his extended stay in France and undeniable impact on the country's musical scene firmly established his figure as a prominent French musician. I'm going to play one of his less explored intermediate repertoire called Tender Melody. It's a charming piece which incorporates lots of ornamentations and flowy melody with the simple left hand accompaniment. It's called the Air Tender. Now, just because of lots of repetitions and the length, I am going to play one time except the repeat, and I'm going to cut in short when the music gets a little too long. Rameau is a prominent French composer in Baroque era, was known for his beautiful keyboard compositions. When it comes to musical expression, Rameau believed that it's best to trust your own feelings and preference to picking tones and details expressions to make an emotions in music. So the next piece I'm going to play is called the Gavotte with Variation. The theme is a graceful melody with a slow tempo, and as you transition to a variation, the tempo becomes a little faster and the scale is expanded. It's giving you a feeling similar to a finger exercise. Francois Dangecourt. Dangecourt published only one set of collection of music titled Premier Livre de Clavecin in 1733. The book has 43 keyboard music that was inspired by Francois Couperin at that time. The book includes fancy pieces grouped into orders and character pieces with the names. I selected one of Dangecourt's character piece named Torodov. Again, a lot of ornamentations included. It's in an image. The next piece I'm going to play is by Louis Daquin, who was born into a family with Italian roots in Paris. He was a musical prodigy. He had his own choral music and conducted his own choral music with orchestra only at age 8. So Daquin created 4 suites for keyboard music along with so many other pieces like orchestra music, organ music, choir music. Some of his well-known piano pieces include Sweet Noel, The Cuckoo. I'm sure so many of you know The Cuckoo. It's one of the popular ones. One of the pieces that was not very popular, yet it's very, very beautiful, I found. It's called The Graceful Melody, which I'm going to play. This piece is composed like a rondo form with a lovely melody with a simple left-hand arpeggio based style. So, those of you who are eagerly looking for something simple yet beautiful melody and not as popular, I highly recommend this piece called The Graceful Melody. It's quite long, so I'm going to cut it short in 3 pages.
So our next composer, Louise Farrenc, lived from 1804 to 1875. She was a composer, a performer, as well as a teacher. She was a student at the Paris Conservatoire. When she finished her studies, she actually was hired there as a professor in a position that she remained for close to 30 years. Together with her husband, they opened what became a leading publishing house in Paris, which remained in operation for about 40 years. She wrote 52 compositions, 31 of which were for piano solo. And we're going to look at some of the etudes. She wrote 4 books of etudes. Her Opus 50 is actually the easiest of the etudes, and they are written in progressive order. They were published between 1859 and 1863. Etude number 1 from Opus 50 is really comprised of choral accompaniment and in both hands and arpeggiation. With one beat exception in this one-page piece, everything is written in triplets. So Opus 50, number 1. Opus 50, number 11, consists also of broken chords and arpeggios throughout. Her Opus 48, Valse Brillante, after an 18-measure introduction, there is a delightful little leggero theme that appears 5 times throughout. It does span 5 octaves on the keyboard, with, again, lots of broken arpeggiated passage work throughout. And it does go through several major key changes. It was published in 1876. Her Opus 48.
next piece is composed by, yes, better, okay. The next piece is composed by Charles Valentin Alkan. I'm sure many of you know the Alkan pieces, they are relatively difficult pieces. Alkan was a virtuoso pianist and child prodigy. In around 1830s and 1840s, he was one of the leading pianists in Paris, along with his friends Frédéric Chopin and Franz Liszt. Despite having many artistic friends around him, he decided to live as he's alive, a little bit more reclusive, just to compose music, especially keyboard music. When he composed the theme and melodies, Alkan displays his attachment to his Jewish root. He was one of the first composer who incorporates Jewish melody into art music. Most of his musical output was centered around the piano and requires most of them exceptional piano skill, which reflects his own ability as a pianist. The piece I will demonstrate is not going to be as difficult, but it's still very difficult harmonically, and it's in a B major, one of the prelude from his 25 prelude collection, Opus 31. I'm going to play the prelude number 23, B major.
So Alexandre Guilmant lived from 1837 to 1911. He was basically an organist and not a pianist. He taught at the Paris Conservatoire, and he composed mostly pieces for the organ, but he did do a few exceptions for piano solo. His Opus 48 was written between 1874 and 1876. It is a collection of 6 pieces which were thought to be teaching pieces for his daughter. 4 of them are just 2 pages in length, and the Chanson d'Enfant is marked Andante avec simplicity. The left hand alternates between the bass clef and the treble clef. Also in that same collection, Opus 48, Petite March calls for attentiveness to articulations. It does include a trio section of just 2 lines with a key change. So, the little march.
The next piece I'm going to present is by Charles Marie Widor, who is the famous organist and composer as well as teacher. Although his organ music remains popular, his piano works were previously neglected. The first complete edition by him was released by Crescendo Music Publication, which allows greater access for his pieces, to us actually. The Valse Impromptu, which I'm going to play by Widor, is a delightful piece that displays popular triplet styles that was widely popular in 19th Romantic century. The style of this music is similar to what Chopin's first impromptu A-flat major, which it constantly flows the triplet and creates lively and upbeat feeling with a beautiful melody to it. So I'm going to play Widor's Valse Impromptu, first 2 pages, to give you the sense of what it's like.
Our next composer is Cecile Chaminade. I think many of us are familiar with her name. She lived from 1857 to 1944. I'm going to present Gavotte, which is a lively little dance. It does appear in several anthologies, so you may be familiar with this Gavotte. From her children's album, Opus 120, 3, Ideal. It's in 6/8 time. It has a gentle flow to it. An obad mostly has the melody in the left hand, so it calls for great attention to the balance between the hands. Her Opus 92 starts with another obad marked Allegretto.
Was that Melanie Bonis?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. Joann,
Yeah.
is an oba?
I think it means spring,
Okay.
I think.
Oh, no, because in French, printemps is spring.
Okay.
So I don't know what aubade is. I don't know.
I just don't recall it.
Something like spring.
Okay. Run, okay, is from the same Opus 98.
Oh, this is like the hide and seek. Catch is like hide and seek.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's delightful. In the end, she actually writes in the score, I am tired. So you heard me kind of slow down, I think.
And what is the name of that one again?
Run,
That catch.
C-A-C-H-E.
I think it's their version of hide and seek.
Yeah,
Or tag, game of tag.
okay.
Yeah.
Then she also wrote an album for children, which consists of 20 pieces, Opus 103, number 2. And the first one is entitled The Little Beggar. The left hand only plays 2 chords throughout, okay? And the right hand remains within a 5-finger position. So does the left hand, for that matter. Another piece from that Opus 103, Congratulations, Grandmama. And the final selection is also taken from Opus 103. It's a madrigal lots of slurs over the bar lines. So it calls for someone who is very secure with their rhythm. I'm sorry, I don't seem to have my... Grace, how about if you go next? And then I'll come back with my...
Okay. We're going to jump to Erik Satie for now. Okay, the last piece. The next piece I'm going to play are two little pieces from Satie's collection called The Manners Propose Enfantine. Sorry for my French. Satie was born in 1866 and has been known for his unique and unconventional approach to music. Erik Satie's piano music was known for being simple, innovative, and different from the usual way of doing things. This makes him an important figure in the 1900s. The Manners Propose Enfantine, which means children chatter, or childish chatter, sorry, were first set of children's pieces that Satie chose to publish. Although they were not to put on sale until July 1916, I'll play two short pieces from this collection. First one is called Cecile la Princesse des Tulipes. And the second piece is Valse du Chocolat au Jamon. Now, first piece, Cecile la Princesse des Tulipes, is only 16 measure piece. It's simple, but has a novel concept of placing both hands in 5-finger position. The second piece, Valse du Chocolat au Jamon, is the same way. It has 64 measures, but the second half is exactly same. So I'm probably going to play the first half so you get the idea of it. Again, the second piece, Valse du Chocolat au Jamon, is also based on 5-finger positions. You can tell how Erik Satie put 5-finger position in music, very graceful way, simple, yet it can be very musical as well. Okay. The first piece, Cecile Princess. Jamon. recommend piano teacher if kids are creative or they want something different, then put hands octave higher up. That will make nice transition like this. But I don't know if Erik Satie would agree. Okay, the next piece I'm going to play is by Florent Schmidt. He was born in 1870 and died in 1958. Schmidt was not as well-known composer today as some of his contemporaries. Schmidt's piano music provides a fascinating glimpse into the diversity of French music in the early 20th century. The next piece I'm gonna play is from Petite Musique, which was composed in 1906 and first published in 1908 in Paris. Collection includes 8 different short pieces. I'll play the first piece called Entree.
So we got a little off track there, or I did. The next composer that we're going to look at is Hedwige Chretien. She lived from 1859 to 1944. She was both a composer and a teacher, and we're sort of seeing a theme here that in 1889 she became a professor at the Paris Conservatoire. She composed around 150 works, 50 of those for solo piano. So perhaps you'll explore her in a little bit more detail. The first piece that we're going to look at is called Nocturne. The melody alternates between 2 hands with varied accompaniment patterns. It does call for attentiveness between the hands and shaping the musical line. It does involve some hand crossing. It is a rather intermediate piece requiring a sensitive player and a mature player. It was published in 1898. So, Nocturne. Tarantelle, her next piece, has sudden contrasts that abound throughout. Students would need to be comfortable shifting back and forth between the different registers on the piano. It involves key changes, instances where both hands are written in treble clef, as well as both hands written in bass clef. This was published in 1899. Tarantelle. Her Waltz of the Dragonfly does contain some jumps in the left hand, as well as arpeggiated passage work in both hands. It certainly captures the agile flight of the dragonfly. It does have several key changes throughout, and instances where both hands are written in the treble clef. It is an intermediate level composition, and it's 5 pages in length, so it's a little long, published in 1905 or perhaps even earlier. Waltz of the Dragonfly. She also wrote a collection entitled 6 Small Recreation Preludes, a collection of 6 pieces, obviously. They do not exceed 1 sharp or 1 flat, and most are just 1 page in length, very short. They were published in or around, perhaps earlier, 1931. The first one in that collection is entitled Near the Creek. Both hands are written in treble clef throughout. A lovely little delicate melody begins in the right hand, and then the left hand takes it over for just one line. It's only 4 lines in length. Lots of tied notes throughout, and it does call for expressive playing. Near the creek. The next one that I'll play from that collection is entitled Baby Falls Asleep. The melody is in the right hand over left hand chords, again with many ties, especially in the left hand. So Baby Falls Asleep. The next selection, Hopping Perot, both hands are in treble clef throughout. It's filled with lots of articulations, and it doesn't really go as fast as I initially expected it would, as it was capturing the clown-like character of a lively clown. Moving on to our next composer, Gabriel Pierne was born in Metz, France. He also attended the Paris Conservatory, where he really studied organ more than piano. He studied organ with César Franck, and his output was pretty large in terms of he wrote symphonic works, opera, ballet, chamber music, solo piano, and songs as well. His Opus 14 album, For My Little Friends, okay, is a collection of just 6 pieces. The first one in that piece, in that collection, is entitled Pastorelle. The left hand is written in the treble clef at times, and it does have a key change from A minor to A major. So Pastorelle. selection from that collection, The Eve of the Guardian Angel. It calls for expressive playing with attention to the tops of the right-hand chords. The tempo indication is andantino religioso, The Eve of the Guardian Angel. Another composer that we'll feature today is Jane View. And she lived from 1871 to 1955. She also published works under a pseudonym of Pierre Valente. And she did that just because she believed that women were not being taken seriously enough in her time. And Melanie Bonis also did that as well. She published about 100 compositions. And of course, we're going to skip to the Images to Music. This is a group of 10 very easy pieces for two hands. 5 are written for 2 hands, and 5 of them are written for 4 hands. It's very interesting. And they were published in 1908, and along with some beautiful illustrations in color for these pieces. So the first one, Images to Music, and then the next one is going to be the Baby Polka. Very cute titles for each of these collections.
The first one, was that the floating cloud? Le naufrage.
Yes, yes.
Floating cloud, okay.
Yeah. This one is the baby polka.
Okay.
I apologize. And I'm sorry, but I did not bring the minuetto, so we'll move on from here.
Okay, the next piece I'm going to introduce is by Darius Milhaud. I'm sure many of you know the Milhaud's piece. But this one, sorry, I said I'm going to play from the children's collection, The Flower, right? But I changed my mind last minute. I'm going to play Darius Milhaud, Romance, which is the second piece from Three Rag Caprice, Opus 78. It was composed in 1922. I'm going to repeat that again. I'm sorry. Second piece from Three Rag Caprice, Opus 78 by Darius Milhaud. Milhaud was a well-known French composer in 20th century because of his innovative style. He was one of the pioneers of using polyphony and bitonality in music and was the first composer who analyzed and consistently developed this technique. Milhaud was greatly inspired by jazz, and he believed the jazz was a seminal art form that had a significant impact on European music. With his unique approach of composition, Darius Milhaud is considered to be one of the most influential composers in the 20th century. The piece I'm going to showcase has a unique harmonic progressions and interesting rhythm to it. So this is a 2-page piece. Again, it's number 2 from Three Rag Caprice, Opus 78. The last composer I'm going to introduce is Tansman. I'm going to play two pieces by Tansman from his Volume 1 collection. I think I provide you with the different selections that he has. Volumes 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, as the number gets higher, the difficulty level gets higher as well. So this is from Volume 1. Tansman was a Polish composer to begin with, but later became a naturalized French citizen in 1938. Tansman was one of the pioneers of neoclassicism, movement associated with the École de Paris. The next two pieces are from the same collection, the Volume 1. Both pieces are written on a limited note range, left hand A to E. It feels like I played the same pieces because the left hand stays in A to E, but they are different pieces. And the right hand is only 5-finger positions. I'm going to play the first piece called the Oriental. Is Malopi Arabe. It's the tempo mark is in length in 3/4, and you will hear the right hand kind of mode and left hand same A and E. Things I like about Tansman's music, the way I play, he doesn't have a crescendo, anti-crescendo, at least in a Volume 1. So for young people, it's a great way to explain and explore the contrast between piano and the forte. And that's it for today. If you have any questions, please let us know.
Have you ever taught any of these pieces to anyone?
As I develop these collections, yes, I have a few. Darius Milhaud piece, and I taught to my student, intermediate students, and he loved the rhythms and chords, but it requires some techniques to figure out the finger numbers. And then he just can't play the nice phrasing. He was just frustrated. But then in the end, he was able to learn a lot from this jazz-inspired rhythm and harmony. Yes, I have taught a few. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions?
So some of these are available online through public domain sources, and others are published that are not in public domain.
That is correct.
Yes.
Okay.
So public domain IMSLP, I provided with website link if you can. Yes.
But
Just
also,
a comment.
the University of
Michigan.
Michigan.
Yes. Has a lot of collections as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to do a little, well, you don't for these pieces.
Right.
It's all thanks to Miriam.
Yes.
But you have to sometimes do a deep dive to find some of this. But there's a lot that's really available online that's downloadable.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Some of the pieces actually I found it from Europe. You have to pay a lot of shippings. I would not recommend as much, but just because they have created, I believe his name is Joann. He has a publications, and his edition is a very unique, and he actually added his own ornamentation, and his team did it. If you believe that's something what you want, I think it's worth pay shipping, but sometimes the shipping costs more than a book cost. But not a lot of pieces, but Duran publication is. I don't think they are available in the United States yet.
But the University of Rochester also has a wonderful resource in terms of free music. You know,
Like you would get it online.
it's online. Yes.
That would be the Sibley sources.
Yes.
Is it
that's
Sibley
right.
Music
Exactly.
Library? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Easily
also
read.
Jane View's music, which Joann presented, and I think University of Pennsylvania collected all these Jane View's piano musics on their online library. So it is available in University of Pennsylvania online library. Jane View's collections actually whole list are there.
And also, Michigan, the University of Michigan has a huge
Collections.
selection
I see.
for music.
Well, thank you so much. I don't see any questions on the chat. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay. Thank you.
for having
Thank
us.
you.
Yeah. I'm gonna just get on the speaker.